Welcome everyone to docket 6630 FR 2022, the application of Wisconsin Electric Power Company for reconciliation of actual fuel costs to the authorized 2022 fuel cost plan. This is Mike Newmark, the administrative law judge for the PSC. We're on Zoom with a public and party hearing sessions in this case. So we'll take comments from the public first and then move on to receiving evidence from parties and commission staff. There are maybe one connection right now that I don't recognize, although, well, I don't see that person anymore. Hang on, let's just go off the record for a second. No, I think that person dropped out, probably when they heard what this case was about. They realized they were in the wrong place. Okay, yeah, so it doesn't look like from our participation, well, let's go on the record. It doesn't look like from our participation list, we have any members of the public in attendance. So no public comments to collect at this time. We do have 3 public comments, written comments we've received on the commission's website that I will receive for the record. There's an additional comment in the docket that doesn't look like it's related to this case, so that will not be part of the record. But just in case anyone wants to know, there is an opportunity still to file written comments. You have up until Thursday, June 29th, and those comments can be filed either through the commission's website or by U.S. mail. So spread the word if you want people to comment in this case. At this point, I think we can do away with the notice. I think I'll keep an eye on the participation list here for Zoom in case we do have someone from the public who joins us. We'll take that comment at the end of the party session. But at this time, let's move on to the party session. We have the service list on the screen here, and we'll just do appearances on the record in alphabetical order. So let's have Citizens Utility Board first.
Steve Keim, representing Citizens Utility Board.
All right. And Public Service Commission staff.
Excuse me. Stephanie Bedford, Assistant General Counsel, appearing on behalf of the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
All right. And WEPCO.
Attorney Patrick Proctor-Brown, appearing on behalf of Wisconsin Electric, and Attorney Joe Wilson will also be here if our additional witness is necessary.
Okay. And Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group.
Hi, good morning. Steve Heinzen for the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group.
All right, great. Well, welcome everybody. And let me ask before we do away with this part of the screen here, any changes or additions we need to make to the service list?
None from applicant.
Okay, looks good for everybody. All right, so we'll clear that out. All right, well, let's go off the record just for corrections to the offered evidence list. So first of all, any filings that I've missed or mistakenly added to the list?
Your Honor, Steve Keim, Mr. Callan's, some of his testimony is under Mr. Mailata's.
Oh, yes, I see that.
That just needs to be moved, please.
Yeah, I'll do that in real time. Perfect. Oh, what happened there? It's not. Oh, they arrived.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure. Not as smooth as I wanted it to go there. It's supposed to look really smooth. All right. So any other problems with the list?
No, Your Honor.
No? All right. So any questions about comments, etc.?
I'll just say we're planning to refile those 2 pieces after the hearing.
Okay, great. And any preliminary matters that we need to discuss before we take our witnesses?
Well, I guess we have a question, Your Honor. We monitored the MG&E case, and Commissioner Huebner had some questions there. I don't see him in the hearing, but we were prepared to have Mr. Tutkowski testify. Oh, there he is.
I am here, sorry.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, we're prepared to have Mr. Tutkowski testify and respond on that same topics that were at issue in the MG&E case. And what we'd like to do is essentially direct, whatever you want to call it. And if there are kind of follow-up questions to our questioning, he'd be available for those.
Okay, I see. So lay groundwork for based on Commissioner Huebner's original questions in MG&E. That's acceptable to me. Any comments about that? No. Okay. Yeah, thanks for being proactive about that. I just learned that those questions would be desired from Commissioner Huebner. So I think I was going to ask you to find someone to answer those questions. So I'm glad you took care of that proactively. Appreciate it. So I did want to discuss one kind of inquire about the process that we're witnessing these days with these run of cases. I think it maybe this is a symptom of the fast pace that we're in, but I was just curious, just for my own understanding, I just wanted to know if there's a rationale, and it's based on the hydro issue that's been raised in the case, and it came in, I guess the final word from WEPCO, the final word we have at the moment is the WEPCO SURSA rebuttal, the buyer SURSA rebuttal. I guess I'm just kind of curious about what people are experiencing in the process, because it seemed like to me that we have a lot of testimony back and forth saying one party is saying one thing but not justifying it, when the other party is saying, well, here's some of the information, and then it's coming back. The first party didn't say, the second party didn't say enough, so the first party is asking for more. Maybe this is just simply the pace of the case, but seems to me that there may be some opportunity to get resolution to these issues and get the information to the parties through discovery, or through maybe just, maybe not formal discovery, if it could be done through witness contacts or informal requests, just to get some understanding of these issues and get the data to witnesses. So to have testimony going back and forth saying we're not getting enough information seems like kind of a waste of that resource and that aspect of the process, instead of putting substantive argument or facts or countervailing facts in the record, saying, well, one person made a claim, but I don't have the information. I mean, it's a tactic. I think it's necessary if that's all you have, but I'm wondering if we're not utilizing all of the opportunities we have with data requests and discovery, hopefully, to get the information in before testimony. And then I guess just one other comment would be, if a party is asking for a basis or for a explanation, just to give the full explanation on the first round of your response, rather than kind of giving an answer that begs another question. So just in light of that observation, does anyone have any insight that they can give me about what happened there?
So I'd say from applicant's perspective, we provided in discovery to FRA 1.5, basically the same answer, but shorter, that we've provided in a couple of pieces of testimony, that run-of-river hydro depends on the run-of-river, right? And we did develop additional testimony in SURSA. That's information that we didn't have, but thought would be helpful to the parties, about the USGS Watergate that sits towards the end of I think there are 12 dams, and it's at the end of 10 of them. That was just in response to CUB. I don't believe there's been any informal reach out or certainly no formal discovery from CUB. But if anybody has any questions about how we operate the hydro dams, I think it would be helpful to have that discovery or that informal discussion earlier in the case, as opposed to getting, I think Mr. Callan's rebuttal was filed the same day that we responded to Mr. Mailata. So obviously we didn't have an opportunity to incorporate his questions into Mr. Byer's rebuttal.
Okay, and just curious, the USGS is a gate information you called it?
Yeah, my understanding of it is the U.S. Geological Survey has a gate meter that measures the water flow in a particular spot on the river, and that sits after 10 of the dams that are at issue across both utilities, right? So some of them are owned by
that's just publicly available then.
Yeah, it's publicly available
Okay,
information.
right. Okay.
Yep.
So,
Your Honor,
yeah.
just to be clear, even though I agree with you, the timing and phasing of this is a little disjointed. The SIR rebuttal is responsive. Mr. Byer's SIR rebuttal is responsive to what we were asking. So we're getting the information, but it's perhaps not the most efficient way to get it.
Right. And that's what I'm observing. I just don't want to make that a practice if we can avoid it. So even if there's, I think the relationships between these parties are pretty well established. So, even if it takes just a call saying, hey, we have a question, that's something that can just speed up the process. So, you don't have to go through an entire discovery request with all the disclaimers and filing it and receiving the response with all the disclaimers. If there's a way to quickly share information, I think we would all benefit from that. So it's something that parties would need to work out, obviously, but it would be helpful to just have the information is in the quickest, most efficient way possible, rather than having kind of a debate of non-information on the record. And it's fair. I think, it's fair to ask those questions if you don't have the information. Just saying, try to do that through data requests, at least as much as possible. And if you get that information, then either you're satisfied with the answer or you're not, but that's something that then can be presented in more of a substantive way on the record. So.
Yeah, Judge Newmark, this is Corey Singletary for Cubby. We actually recognize that as we were going on, and we recognize that as a training point for our younger staff, where we're early on, where we're seeking, is there anything we need for discovery? And I think it's just a writing style point of asking for these things as opposed to posing the question in testimony. So that's something we're going to endeavor to do better going forward. Okay.
Yep. All right. So it's all good. So that works. I'm glad we all recognize the issue there. So good. All right. And anything else we need to discuss before we start? All right. So let's get started with the applicant's first witness.
So we would call Mr. Jim Byer. I think there's no cross for him. So we'll just affirm the testimony.
Yeah, we'll just confirm while we're sitting here today. Any questions for the witness? Well, we'll want to swear him in first and get things ready. So, you think we'll just take him by affidavit? He's here. We might as well just enter his testimony. So
yeah,
let me swear him in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So let me swear you in. So raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You'll need to unmute.
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Byer. Did you prepare and cause to be filed direct rebuttal and SIR rebuttal testimony in this case?
I did.
And did you prepare and cause to be filed 2 exhibits, Exhibit WEPCO Byer 1 and Exhibit WEPCO Byer 2?
I did.
And do you understand that we will be refiling a revised version of your direct testimony and a revised version of your first exhibit?
Yes.
And so other than those revisions, is there anything in your testimony or your exhibits that is not accurate as you sit here today, or you change the answer to as you sit here today?
No.
Thank you. So I would tender Mr. Byer for a cross if anyone has questions.
Great, thanks. So this question, I just have a quick question. Either one of you can answer. Just in terms of the Byer 1 refile, is that going to include the attachments, or is it? I just want to make sure. Obviously,
yes. Yeah, we plan to include the
Okay.
attachments.
Great. Yeah, that was pretty obvious. Okay, good. So any cross-examination questions?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Hebner.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I just, maybe this is more for the attorney, is you mentioned another witness would be on to talk a little bit about the Elm Road and the generating units. Would my questions about performance at ERGs and coal contracts be better directed at that second witness, or would Mr. Byer be able to answer any of those questions?
So just in full disclosure, so Mr. Tutkowski is the plant asset manager for ERG. So all of the questions about the performance of the unit will be properly directed to him, and we'll have some questions posed to him in direct based on your questioning in the MG&E case. We also have available Mr. John Oswald, who testified in the WPSC case about coal. And so if you have specific questions about coal contracts or coal availability, those would be best posed to him. We didn't prepare direct testimony for him, but would make him available for questioning if that's desired.
Yeah, I think maybe I'll have a question for him then, just more generally about, any and all efforts the applicant took to get more coal to the units, noting the underperformance of the railroads.
Sounds good. Yeah. So we'll
Mr. Oswald be best for that one.
He would, and I think the general questions about the coal constraints, we'll have one question for Mr. Tutkowski
Okay.
that will lay the foundation for that too.
Okay, all right. Then I don't think I have any questions for Mr. Byer. Thank you.
All right.
Sure.
So no cross. Is that right for anyone? Okay, great. Thanks. You're excused. That's all you need to do.
So we'll switch out and bring Mr. Tutkowski on.
Okay.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. So let's just get your name for the record here. I don't have it on.
Sure. Attorney Joe Wilson from Quarles and Brady on behalf of Wisconsin Electric Power.
Okay, great. So who are you calling?
We're going to call Mr. Robert Tutkowski.
I see you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. And Your Honor and Commissioner Hebner, our plan is to address the topics that you raised in MG&E's proceeding. And then obviously, if you have any follow-up, feel free. What is your name?
Robert Tutkowski,
And what is your title?
asset manager at the Elm Road Generating Station.
Please describe your background with the Elm Road Generating Station, which we sometimes call ERGs.
I've been associated with ERG since 2001. During the engineering, procurement, construction, and then the startup and commissioning phases of the project, I served in a variety of roles, from project engineer, project manager, business manager, and startup manager. After ERGs was placed into service, I served as maintenance manager and now as asset manager. In that role, I'm responsible for all aspects of ERG's day-to-day operation, including maintenance and oversight of any repairs needed to the facility.
Did ERGs experience an unexpected outage in May and June of 2022?
Yes, both units 1 and 2 had unexpected outages that lasted approximately 1 month, which resulted in the lower than forecasted capacity factors for the units during the outages.
What led to the outages on ERGs Unit 1 and 2 in May and June of 2022?
These were the result of unplanned outages due to P91 steel fitting leaks on the ERG's high pressure steam lines. In May of 2022, we discovered leaks in the main steam system on both ERG's units. These units operate at steam pressures of 3,700 PSI and were removed from service for safety reasons. Upon inspection, we discovered that large diameter, and I'm talking 18 to 20 inch diameter, thick-walled T fittings made with P91 steel had significant cracking. the Electric Power Research Institute, or as we refer to them as EPRI, has identified premature failure of P91 T-fittings as an emerging industry-wide issue. We are full participants with EPRI and have initiated a fleet-wide inspection and repair process. We have P91 high-temperature fittings at ERGS, at Port Washington, Fox, Weston, and Rothschild. To date, only ERGS has experienced a P91 fitting failure, but it forced us to take the ERGS units offline unexpectedly to complete repairs.
Did ERGS also experience lower than forecast capacity factors in the fall of 2022?
Yes, we experienced another unplanned outage in September, October, and November, on early into December also of 2022. This was limited to just Unit 2.
What led to the capacity factor variances on ERGS Unit 2 in the fall and early winter of 2022?
These are due to the unexpected need to replace the Unit 2 steam chest. As background, the steam chest is about the size of a refrigerator and receives steam from the boiler through 2 main steam lines, with each line having a stop valve at the inlet to the steam chest. From the steam chest, steam is directed to the turbine through 4 control valves. Unit 2 had been exhibiting unexpected deformation of its steam chest. That deformation impacted the operation of the turbine control valves. In spring of 2021, we learned that the material composition of the Unit 2 steam chest did not match the design specifications. The steam chest material contains significantly more chromium than designed. The higher level of chromium made that material susceptible to premature aging. In the fall of 2021, a material analysis showed that this chest was at the end of life and a new chest was promptly ordered. This required moving a planned 8-week outage to overhaul the turbine generator from the spring of 2022 to the fall of 2022, so the steam chest work could be done at the same time as the turbine generator overhaul. A spring 2022 outage of shorter duration was still necessary, however, to address the need to replace SCR catalyst. In fall of 2022, the new steam chest was installed during an outage, which started in early September and was completed in early December. For your information, we also checked the material composition of the Unit 1 steam chest, and it did match the original design specification.
If ERGS had not encountered the additional outage time from the P91 T-fitting issues or the steam chest issue, how would ERG's actual 2022 outage hours have compared to the 2022 outage hours in the fuel plan?
If you remove the outage hours from the P91 issues and the steam chest issue, you will see that the total outage hours in the plan would have been essentially the same as the actual total outage hours.
And if ERGS had not experienced the P91 issues or the steam chest issue, would the units have been constrained in any other way?
Yes, it's important to note that in 2022, ERGS was coal delivery constrained, as Mr. Malata describes in his direct testimony. As rail deliveries were constrained across the U.S., we utilized all the coal that was available to be delivered to the Oak Creek site. Even with the additional downtime from the P91 and the steam chest issues, we had to hold back generation at ERGS throughout 2022 because of slow fuel deliveries. Had the units been online for more hours, we would have had to hold the units back more later in the year to manage coal inventory going into the 2022-2023 winter. The net impact of outage hours due to the steam chest and P91 fitting failures was small because of limited coal availability.
That's the conclusion of our prepared testimony, but happy to take any follow-up questions.
Okay, let's hear from Commissioner Huebner first.
Good morning, Mr. Tutkowski. First, thank you for being available to provide that explanation today. My only question for you would be, kind of upstream from the ERGS unit itself on the company's efforts to work with the railroad to try to increase the amount of coal deliveries. And that may be a question better directed at Mr. Oswald, but to the extent you can answer, I'd appreciate kind of understanding what efforts the company took to address those railroad issues. Thanks.
Can I
Yeah,
just
I do.
interject before you answer that some of the information you're probably aware is confidential. So to the extent you can answer using only public information, please do so. But if you need, in order to provide a complete answer, if you need to state the confidential information, we can go into closed session. So just let me know ahead of time. It's not a problem to switch over.
Yeah, I think that would probably be best if we switched over to our other witness, Mr. John Oswald, for that topic.
Okay, I guess I'm not clear what you said. So do you think witness Oswald would be more appropriate to answer that? You don't have anything to add?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So any other questions for this witness?
I guess I did have one other question, and that would be, it sounded like some of this was equipment that was installed obviously by your contractor. Are there any warranty claims or other actions being sought related to either the P91 or the steam chest?
Sorry, can we go into closed session for the answer to this? It's not detailed, but would prefer to do it in confidential session.
Okay, is it? Well, sure, we can do that, and we can go back. So what we need to do is enter a breakout room. So I'm going to create that room. I think if I can assign 17 participants per room. Let's see if I can fit everyone. Okay, so I'm going to exclude Jim Byers' connection, and I think we can do we can fit everybody else into this. I didn't realize there's a limit to the participants, the number of participants. Rebuilding our hearing here. Still have. It's giving us this delay to close the room. It's taking 15 more seconds for the room to be closed. Every time this Zoom updates, there's another quirk that. Okay. So it looks like that room is still available. I think that's the point here. So maybe we can use it in the future without doing too much more. See, we have Cub here. Corey's here. All right, looks like we have everybody we need. So anything more for we changed our witness. We need to excuse our witness in public. So let's have Mr. Tchaikovsky.
Mr. Tchaikovsky, can you come back just for a second?
Thanks. So any questions, more questions for the witness while we're in public session? Nothing? All right. Thanks very much. You're excused. Okay, let's call our next witness.
Your Honor, applicant would call Mr. John S. Oswald, and we would ask just a couple of foundation questions, but not much.
Let me just change this here. All right, I'll swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Mr. Oswald, would you please state your name and business address for the record?
My name is John Oswald. My business address is 231 West Michigan Street in Milwaukee.
And where are you employed and in what capacity?
I hold the position of manager of solid fuels at Wisconsin Electric Power Company and Wisconsin Public Service Corporation.
And then what capacity, in that capacity, what are you responsible for?
In this capacity, I'm responsible for developing and managing the cost-effective solid fuels and transportation strategies for both utilities, including contract negotiation and oversight.
Thank you. Mr. Oswald is available for any questions.
Okay, Commissioner Huebner, did you have questions?
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
And let me just interrupt. Will you need the screen share for those? You'd be opening some documents? No? Okay.
No.
Oh, it's a more
Sorry.
general question. Thank you.
All right, great. Go ahead.
Yep. Can you, good morning, Mr. Oswald. Thank you for appearing today and being available. Can you describe the applicant's efforts throughout 2022 to obtain more coal to your generation units, given the challenges with the railroad?
And I'll just say at the outset, we conferred briefly before this, and we believe we can address this in public testimony, but it'll be a kind of a general, no numbers, no names kind of level.
Okay. Yes, we began in the later parts of 2021 to notice a decline in service from our railroads, our primary railroad provider for the Elm Road facility. And what had normally been a cycle time, which is the time a train takes to go from loading at the mine to delivering to our facility and then returning to the mine, had been approximately 7 days, historically about 7 days. And we had seen that type of cycle time running very constantly up through and until about July of 2021. Beginning of that time, we saw a degradation in that cycle time, which meant that the cycles were becoming longer, from 7 days to 8 days to 9 days. And with that longer cycle time meant we were getting actually less coal to our facility. As 2022 continued on, we continued to see degradation of those cycles, and the railroads were continuing to see problems with their operations. The problems were from loss of employees on their system, whether it was operators and engineers, or operators or engineers who were the people responsible for actually driving the trains. They did not have enough employees to fulfill all the needs of the customers, of the coal burners, the people like us, the utilities, who wanted to have certain demands of coal be delivered. We also during that time saw the our railroad provider, forcibly remove our sets from service. So instead of having our full complement of railroad train capacity available to deliver coal, they removed them and stored them for us, or not with our agreement, but put them down so that we were not able to utilize them. That led to 15% maybe of a reduction of ability to deliver coal just from train sets being stored. In addition to that, we saw the degradation of the cycle time from 7 days to 8 days, 10 days, 12 days as it progressed through the year of 2022, sometimes even as long as 14 days for a train to make the cycle from the mine to our plant and back again. And if it goes again from 7 days to 14 days, that is half the amount of coal that you can get delivered over a longer period of time. So we did see continuing and ongoing problems throughout 2022 with the railroads.
And did you yourself or other management at the company, I guess, how did you make the railroad aware that you were not satisfied with their performance?
Yes, we have weekly calls scheduled and actually occurring with the railroad, with both of our contract partner at the railroad, as well as our operations group. Those happen every week on Tuesdays. And we call in, and one of the topics of conversation of that meeting is just a short 15 to 30 minute meeting, but it talks about where our train sets currently are located, how we feel the operations are going, and what the railroad was doing to improve their operations. So we had those weekly meetings. We also would talk with them at other times to explain that we needed more coal at our facilities, and that because of the lack of coal, we were not able to run the plants as we needed to or desired to. In addition, we did have a meeting where I flew out to their company to meet with them face to face at their corporate office.
How high within the WEPCO company did the concerns go? I mean, did CEO level, CFO, kind of any other higher level folks get engaged and express their concerns at all?
Yes, we have monthly fuel meetings, and in those meetings, my immediate boss is an executive vice president, so he is well aware of it. He reports to the president and CEO of our company. He also was aware of it. I would provide weekly and monthly updates as to our coal position, where we were as far as deliveries that were being made to our site, as well as what our forecasted inventories were at specific periods, current, as well as end of summer, beginning of summer, end of summer, beginning of winter, end of winter, so that we could have a feel for how much coal we were actually going to have available for burning.
Okay, that's all the questions I have. Again, thank you for making yourself available today.
Yes.
Any other cross? No?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Excuse me. Hi, Steve Heinzen from the Wisconsin, or for the Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group. If I understand your response, is that the railroads provided reasons as to why they were not delivering coal according to the schedule that you had expected. Is that right?
They explained that they did not have enough employees to run the trains. Yes.
Okay. And did you or others at WEPCO look into whether or not their, I guess in this case it's the lack of employees was a reasonable reason for them not to deliver the coal, and whether you had any legal remedy given that they were unable to deliver the coal?
So I'm going to caution the witness at this point not to divulge attorney-client communications. I think it's fair to state if those discussions happen, but we're going to stay in public session, number one, and number two, not divulge internal communications with attorneys. But
Okay,
you can
let's see
answer.
what answer we can get in public.
So we are having discussions with both our internal and external counsel. to help us determine what path we want to take going forward with this, if any.
And does that mean that WEPCO has not yet determined whether there is a legal remedy for the failure or the insufficient coal deliveries in the past?
We are still evaluating that.
So as far as you know, there may be still some legal remedy for WEPCO to take in connection with the past coal insufficient deliveries.
I think I'll just object to that question, because I do think that it inherently asks him to divulge legal analysis. I think he stated what I think is appropriate to state in a public session like this.
Okay, I'll sustain that.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Thanks.
So we can go into closed if you want.
No, that's fine. Thank you.
Any other questions, cross questions? So I did have a follow-up for you, Witness Oswald. Just curious if there's any pursuit of by the applicant to procure coal from another source.
We had coal under contract, so it wasn't a coal procurement problem that we were having. We had the coal available. We just could not get it delivered to our site.
Okay. Well, let me be clear then. If the applicant could get coal delivered by another source, by another in another transportation company or form of transportation.
Another form of transportation, we only have coal unloading at our site via rail. We don't have water type of delivery options at that site. Our Elm Road facility also only has a single railroad that has access to our property. And that is a railroad that we have a contract with. It's a single point of delivery available to us.
Okay.
So no, we did not seek out additional delivery options.
Okay. Yes. Well put. Okay. Thanks. Okay. Any other cross? How about redirect?
I think I have one redirect that hopefully gets to this too. Mr. Oswald, did the company evaluate, to your estimation, all prudent actions you could take to eliminate delivery constraint?
I believe we did. We had multiple meetings, consistent meetings with the railroads, and we asked them repeatedly to add coal train sets into our service and to improve our cycle times. We also elevated this up to, again, my executive vice president, my leader, and he had multiple calls with our railroad counterpart, his railroad counterpart, through the course of 2022 to try to exert pressure on them to do a better job for delivering the coal to our site. So yes, I think that we exhausted all of our evidence.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much. You're excused.
Thanks. I think that's all of the applicant's witnesses, unless
Yes.
there are other questions.
Don't believe so. Anything else we need to discuss in terms of questions for the applicant? No. Okay. All right. Yeah. So let's move on to Citizens Utility Board.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Citizens Utility Board calls Mr. Corey Singletary.
Okay. I see you there. Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right. Go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Corey Singletary,
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
the Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin as Director of Regulatory Affairs.
And in this proceeding, did you file direct testimony?
I did.
And if I asked the questions contained therein today, would your answers be the same?
Yes, they would.
Thank you, Your Honor. Witness is available for cross-examination.
Okay. Any questions?
None from
Seeing any?
applicant.
No, okay, none from the applicant. All right, thanks very much. You're excused.
Your Honor, Citizens Utility Board calls Mr. Callan to the stand, please.
Yep, raise your right hand. Yep. Do you swear or affirm, tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Ted Callan.
And by whom are you employed and in what capacity?
I'm employed by the Citizens Utility Board of Wisconsin as an analyst.
And did you file in this proceeding rebuttal and surrebuttal testimony along with some errata to the surrebuttal testimony?
I did.
And if I asked you the questions contained in that rebuttal and surrebuttal testimony along with the errata corrections, would your answers today be the same as set forth therein?
They would be, yes.
Thank you. Witness is available for cross-examination.
All right, any questions?
I have one, if that's okay.
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Callan, do you have any information that indicates to you that applicant operated the hydroelectric facilities imprudently during 2022?
I'm sorry, hydroelectric facilities.
During 2022.
Yeah, I think it's the other word.
Oh, hydroelectric facilities imprudently during 2022?
Imprudently.
Thanks.
No, I do not.
Thank you.
All right,
That's
any
all I
other
have.
cross? Redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, thanks very much. You're excused.
That, Your Honor, that completes our witnesses.
Okay, thank you. So move on to Wisconsin Industrial Energy Group. Now, I copied Todd Stewart's name over from the WP&L offered evidence list, thinking that there was testimony, but maybe did I miss that or?
No, there is no testimony from
Okay.
Mr. Stewart in this
Okay,
case.
so that's
Thank you.
accurate. Okay, great.
Yes.
Okay, so now commission staff.
The commission calls Tyler Mellemans to the stand.
Okay. See you there. Do you swear? Yep. Do you swear or affirm? Tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do.
All right.
Please state your name for the record.
Tyler Mellemans.
And what is your position at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin?
I am the rates supervisor at the Public Service Commission.
Did you file or cause to be filed direct testimony in one exhibit in this docket?
Yes, I did.
Are the statements and representations in the testimony and exhibit you filed in this case true and correct?
Yes, they are.
Do you have any additions or modifications to your testimony or to your exhibit at this time?
I believe I'll be filing revised testimony, including a couple IRF links to some final decisions that I cited, but apart from that, I have no other corrections or revisions to make.
Thank you. Your Honor, the witness is available for cross.
Okay. Hearing a little interference there, but we could probably get through this quickly. So any questions for witness Mellemans?
None from applicant.
No one? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. You're excused.
All right, thank you.
The commission calls Klaus Mailata to the stand.
Okay. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Go ahead.
Please state your name for the record.
Klaus Mailata.
And what is your position at the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin?
I am a financial analyst.
Did you file or cause to be filed both confidential and public direct testimony in this docket and both confidential and public exhibit in this docket?
Yes, I did.
Are the statements and representations in the testimony and exhibits you filed in this case true and correct?
They are.
And did you have the opportunity to read applicant witness Byers' sur rebuttal that was filed today?
I did.
And do you have any modifications or additions to your testimony after reading that sur rebuttal?
I do not. However, I would modify my testimony if it's necessary to, since I was asking Mr. Callan about the reasons for the shortfall in hydro. Mr. Byer, both in rebuttal and sur rebuttal, did an excellent job. So I can certainly point that out, but I don't know if it's necessary or not, so.
Thank you. Your Honor, the witness is available for cross.
Okay, questions?
I think I have one,
Yeah.
and
go
I
ahead.
regret it. But
So I'm
Mr.
just going to ask
Malata,
you to introduce yourself to the witness. If you could do that every time.
will.
Yeah. Okay.
oh, sure. Thank you, Mr. Malata. My name is Patrick Proctor Brown. I'm an attorney for Wisconsin Electric, the applicant. Were you present for the testimony of Mr. Tutkowski and Mr. Oswald?
I was.
And do you generally agree with their statements about the constraints on the ERGS units?
Well, there's two constraints. There's the mechanical constraints, and certainly I'm not an expert at those, but I assume those are well documented. As far as the coal constraints, which I assume is with the other constraint that you're talking about, I looked at it. I've got a lot of experience in this field, and there's not much you can do if the railroad's not doing their job. And it's history. There's only two railroads anyways. And of course the fact that the only one railroad, the one they have, can actually deliver coal to the plant is the other constraint. So what I read into what was ordered and what was delivered, at least in my opinion, seemed reasonable under the circumstances that I understood the railroad was facing.
Thank you, Mr. Malata. That's all the questions I had.
All right. Any other cross? No? Any redirect?
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right. So I think we're done with you, witness Malata. Thanks very much. You're excused. And anything else we need to cover before we adjourn?
Nothing from commission staff.
Okay.
Nothing from AMPA.
Okay.
Nothing, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right. So we'll need to let me ask, I guess, based on what we heard in closed session, do we think we'll need to preserve that testimony in closed in confidential version?
We're not sure. I think we'll review it. I think the answer is probably no, but
Okay.
We'll just have to look at the testimony.
So I should have done this in the breakout room, but we'll need to be shipping that transcript out with a password. So I'm going to have Attorney Bedford send you a password, and as well as the court reporter will get that password. So that'll be the password you'll need to open the confidential version. And then if you still wish to claim something's confidential, you'll just need to make the filing of the confidential version and the public redacted version. But let us know, I guess, let us know as soon as you can. So we'll see if we need to even go through that wait time with that. But yeah, if you do want to make it confidential, then you'll need to be filing those documents. Otherwise, I think.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely let you know as soon as we can.
Okay.
The only thing on the transcripts while we're talking about that is Mr. Oswald, I don't believe, said a full word before he said the railroad party. And so hopefully that's reflected in the transcript. That makes sense.
Oh, okay. Is that okay? Well, let's just go off the record for a second. Is that the only piece that you're concerned about that you don't know yet? So we'll just review it.
No, I just know that was in public session, and
in public.
I only heard that half a word, and hopefully it doesn't show up as a full word in the transcript.
Okay.
He caught himself, and I wrote railroad because I remember from the last one that those weren't supposed to be in there.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. That was a good catch. Okay.
While we're off, would you like me, Judge, to send Mr. Proctor Brown just that small part to review before I produce the final transcript instead of producing two transcripts?
That would be excellent if that's.
That's up to Judge Newmark.
Right.
Yeah. You'll still have to protect it. So sure. Why don't we do that? Why don't we have you share that version first, and then see what they say. If they still want to claim confidentiality, then we'll go through the process. If not, then just send the draft public.
And I think that would more than likely save work for everybody.
Mhm. Yeah, that's great. And you'll still need to get a password for that when you email it. So just come up with something and let them know.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just do that actually when we get off here. So I'll have it
Mhm.
out to everyone in maybe an hour or so. And that way I'll send it to you, Judge, and to Mr. Proctor Brown, or does it need to go to everybody?
No, that's fine. If we can if you can make a decision before the draft is due, which is in 2 days.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we'll know which way to go for everyone else.
Yeah, we will decide today.
Okay, perfect. That's great.
All right.
All right. So back on the record, so we have the post-hearing process already established and we have few refilings to make. Otherwise, I think we're good. Anything else we need to discuss?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much. We're adjourned.